If you are new to this channel, basically people recommend stuff for us to read, we read it, and then we talk about it. Tonight we have Clack the Rattlebags by Neil Gaiman, recommended for our Halloween reads.
I feel like there's a rhyme in there somewhere. Click, clack, dack, dack, jack.
This should have come with a rhyme.
Little boy, gotta get ya.
So what we're going to do is a quick plot recap, because I can do this in a couple sentences, and then just talk through maybe some of the takeaways or interpretations that we have, because I think there's a couple ways to look at this one. But basically, we have a boy who's ready to go to bed and begins telling his sister's boyfriend to tell him a scary story. But it ends up the little boy is the one who tells the scary story about Click-Clacks, darkness monster lore at school that lure unsuspecting prey into the darkness, where they drink their insides, and kind of like spiders. But meanwhile, the whole time, the boyfriend's being led, he's leading through the house. The boy's behind him, kind of creepy-like. With the lights out in the attic, starts getting a little spooky. And when we get to the end, we kind of hear bones rattling, which is what their Click-Clack victims do. The rattlebags are bones rattling in the wind in the perfect darkness. Fade to black. There's your plot recap.
Chilling. Ooh.
So I think overall pretty solid Halloween story, very enjoyable. I think there's kind of two interpretations. I'm kind of curious to hear which one you went with, because I read this the first time and had one. And I went back and listened to it a second time, and I actually had a different takeaway, which I thought was kind of interesting. I'd like to hear, what was yours?
The major theme that I felt out of this was trust. When they're walking through, for me, like when somebody's walking behind you, that's kind of a big sign of trust, because you're very vulnerable. And the guy has no sense of danger whatsoever. And that's odd to me. I don't know if it's intuition or what it is, but I always, not that I have a sense of danger or anything, or I know when I'm in trouble, but you just kind of have those vibes sometimes when you know something isn't right. Or you have a feeling about a person and be like, ooh, that, nah. And you get, that vibe. This guy has none of that. And the kid either is masking himself. So I don't know. It kind of felt like this trust versus mask manipulation. And it just felt very obvious that the boy was the monster. And that's okay. It's still a good story. I still enjoyed the vibes and the atmosphere of it. That haunted house feeling that you don't know you're in danger was kind of unique. But again, the surprise didn't hit me like I wanted it to.
So you had the literal interpretation where the boy's telling a story about the Click-Clacks, and the boy is a Click-Clack, or leading him to Click-Clacks for the boyfriend to be eaten, essentially.
Yeah, I thought the boy was the monster. He's the Click-Clack monster. I thought the boy was the monster, but I thought the Click-Clack was just the sound of like the bones rattling in the human bag, your human skin, as you're like are sucked out, like you said. So your bones just kind of rattle on the inside if there's nothing else there. That's kind of how I took the title of it. But I always thought the boy was the monster.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. I think that was actually when I read it the second time, my interpretation. And the first time I read it, I kind of missed that trust element. Like, I didn't know where you're going with that trust element, but I think I finally picked up that the guy had no sense of danger is kind of how I felt. And nor did I when I was reading it. And when I read it the second time for the literal interpretation, thinking that the boy's the monster, there was a line in there about, it's like, I can't remember the exact line, but it had something about, they look like what you don't pay attention to or something like that. And what's this guy not paying attention to but the child, right? Or what do adults not pay attention to? Child, right? I can't remember the exact line, but there's something like that where I'm like, I see what's happening here. But I also think there's like the horror movie trope that we've seen many, many, many times, which is, what's this boyfriend doing, spending the night with the sister? Are we looking at the trope of the first to sin is usually the first to die that you typically see in horror movies? And what's this guy do but the first to die? Who knows? But I think there's those traditional horror elements in there that make it work. What's funny is that what might be the way you're supposed to interpret it, that's not the way I had it the first time. And I think this is a good story because it's kind of like the traditional urban myth interpretation, right? Like the thing that sounds scary and only few know about because very few survive. It's a classic chilling twist, and I'm kind of surprised I totally missed it. my first takeaway actually was, do you remember what insect the Click Clack was compared to?
It wasn't a spider, was it? Was it?
It was. No, it was a spider.
Okay, it was a spider, yeah.
And do you remember what the boyfriend saw in the shower? I think he said it was either that morning or the day before or something like that.
I don't remember that detail, no.
It was spiders, right?
Okay.
So you know how the power of suggestion, this was my first take when I read it, the power of suggestion makes you think something is real that's not real. And as adults, we kind of lose touch with it. Like, it's not gone, it's there. But like as a kid, if, you know, you tell your 6-year-old, 3-year-old, just be careful you shut the door, there's going to be some boogeymen in there, they're going to freak out. Like, they will totally believe. It's that power of suggestion to like almost make it real in your mind. And I don't know if you've ever had one of those experiences where you got so scared as a kid that your entire body froze. Like, I had that happen once where like my family turned off all the lights and I was trying to run up the stairs and I couldn't move anymore. I was so scared running up the stairs. I thought someone was grabbing my leg, but nobody was there.
I'm a run, like, you know, fight, flight, or freeze. I'm a flight. I'm out of there. I remember when I was going home one time and I thought I saw ghosts or lights in my house because nobody was home and it was dark. And I just jumped on my bike and booked it out of there to the nearest restaurant. I was like, nope, I'm gone.
Yep. So to me, you know, this is that Edgar Allan Poe where we're cutting on the action. Right when we hear the rattlebags, like, we cut to have our own takeaway from it is kind of how I took it the first read through. And it's just kind of like reminds me about the story of the power of storytelling, right? The power of suggestion can create real fear, more likely in kids, but also in adults. It's there and it can happen. So you can kind of compare that with your interpretation or the second read through. I realized there was like another story, a version of it, which is the power of the myth that evil can lie even in unsuspecting common places when you're not looking.
And I think that, to your point of that, of where evil lies when you're not looking, is that's kind of shielded, right? You're at a house, and where are you supposed to feel the most safe, the safest? At your house. And I think that's why haunted houses are so chilling, is it's a place you're supposed to feel comfortable, you're supposed to feel safe and secure. And then bam, you know, you're killed in a house. And then a child, innocent, there's one of the second most things is, you know, kids, you know, there's nothing a kid can do me, you know, it's a kid, you know, they're small and weak and whatever. And so you have those two things combined together. And I think it's good. Again, I predicted it, and that kind of bummed me out. But I did like the use of words with the click clack. You know, that's kind of I don't know how to describe those words, but they flow very well together. And then the rattlebag, I thought was creative because my mind immediately went to like a death rattle. You know, people are like literally 1 second away from dying. They have that like rattle in their throat, and doctors say like when that happens, a person will die within the next few seconds. So I thought, oh, rattlebag, death rattle, you know, this is going to be good. And so I thought Gaiman did a great job of taking all kind of, to your point, the tropes and put it into this nice little narrative.
Oh yeah, like the usage of onomatopoeia, like that was really good. The click clack, and it also being the last thing what you said before you die, the death rattle. That's chilling. Thank you. That's going to haunt my dreams tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. Another thing to haunt your dreams. We only have 2 main characters, but there is a third elusive character here, right? And I wanted to get your take on it. Do you think maybe the boy is a vampire of sorts? That kind of how I thought. But do you think that the sister's in on it? I mean, she's come on, like, yeah, she's got to be in on it, right?
Totally. I did have that thought 100%. When I had it the second time, and I was like, oh, okay, the boy's the monster. I took it, maybe I need to reread it more closely. I took it as like the monsters were called click clacks. They suck their victims dry, and then just the meat bags, they rattle in the wind. So I took them as like this spider vampiric like animal. And I was like, oh man, I bet you the sister lures older men in for food for the family, and the child gets is the little the one that people don't think about or is less likely to present danger. So he's the one that can kind of get away with it. Yeah, totally thought that.
Okay, good. I was like, oh man, she's like the Renfield or whatever Dracula's assistant is. So yes, okay, cool.
Yeah. So for you viewers out there that are still here, leave us a little vampire or spider emoji to let the ever hungry YouTube algorithm know that you enjoyed the talk and have made it this far. We'll leave a playlist of other talks about this author down below. Thank you for spending time with us today. My name has been Una. Peace.
Peace.